y'all, I'm Red and welcome to the Shine Shack, the channel that's all about making quality shine. Alrighty y'all, it's been 14 days. The Blue Oat Whiskey all grain mash is finally done working off. It's at a 1.00, so it's ready to rock. Took about 14 days to work off, but we used a different yeast, a cider yeast, the Mangrove Jack's M02, plus we inoculated it with the lactobacillus infection, so of course it took a little longer. But guys, it smells and tastes fantastic. Super sour, but yet sweet, kind of pineapple-y, super grain forward. Fantastic. I'm super excited to run this whiskey tonight, y'all. I also took a half gallon of the mash, put it in my refrigerator, and we're going to save that for a later date if we ever want to inoculate another mash with lactobacillus, guys. That's definitely something you can do. Get you a culture of it, keep it good and refrigerate it, and save it till another time, guys. But we're going to run this through the pot still. I decided to go ahead and run a thumper, guys, just so we could put a couple gallons of mash and some of the grains out of the mash barrel to help boost that grain flavor, guys. I think it's really going to help versus just running it single pass pot still mode. You know, I'm always a thumper person. I'm always on the edge about not using a thumper. Everything has a time and a place, guys. But I think in this instance, the thumper's going to benefit us by supercharging it with the grain forward flavors. If this whiskey turns out real good, we're going to throw it in a Badmotivator barrel. Shout out to them and Christopher Conrad, awesome guy. Guys, y'all know I fully support Badmotivator Legacy Barrels. I'll put a link in the description box below so you can go get you a kick-ass barrel, guys. I fully support them. Everything has a time and a place, guys. Rapid aging, I'm all for it too. Not every spirit makes the cut to go into a more pricier barrel. So, it's good to rapid age to get a little glimpse of what it could be like in a barrel before you put it in the barrel and waste it, So I'll talk about that a little later on in the video. But y'all, let's get to filtering this mash out and let's get to making us some damn good liquor, guys. Alrighty, y'all, here it is. It's still releasing a little CO2, but it's definitely done working off. Oh, it tastes fantastic. We're going to get the filter out and we're going to get to running it, y'all. Alrighty, y'all, we're filtering our mash through a couple layers of good old cheesecloth and a colander, just to make sure we get all the grain particles out. We definitely don't want no scorching. You scorch a little bit of mash in the bottom of your pot, you'll ruin your whole run of liquor, guys. Always make sure you filter it real well. Alrighty, y'all. We're going to go ahead and get some mash dumped in the old steel pot. I need to get me one of them there damn fancy funnels that tri-clamps on. I need to get me one of them really bad. I just keep forgetting about it. Alrighty, y'all, we're going to get the rest of this steel filled up. We'll be back when we go to fire up. Alrighty, y'all, so we're about to put some mash in the thumper. As you can see, that's a whole bunch of grain and mash. We're just going to put that in our thumper. Alrighty, y'all, so we're about to fire up. We got the thumper all loaded up. We just got to put our tri-clamps on. We got our connections Teflon taped and tightened real good. Everything's ready to go. We got our pot full of mash. I didn't have to use the on-the-grain fermenter. My pump poured off more than enough mash. That thing does work well. I'll put a link in the description box below, Distilling website, for y'all to check that out. We do have a sweet corn mash coming up. We're going to grind cob and all. So I got a bunch of sweet corn the other day. That's the next we're going to do next week, y'all, the next mash. Make sure you stay tuned and check that out. And I will throw that through the on-the-grain fermenter to help get the liquid off the corn when it's time to run that mash. We'll definitely use it on that one. We're going to go ahead and fire this thing up. It's getting late, and as you can see, I'm hot, soaking wet, and sweaty. It's so humid down here where I live, y'all, it's ridiculous. But we're going to get her fired up, and we're going to see what she puts out tonight, y'all. Alrighty, y'all, so just back to heating down a little bit. We're at about 170 degrees. My vapor's already through the line arm. We're almost into the thumper now. So we'll be running real shortly in probably about 10 minutes. We've got everything ready to go. Now this is a grain mash, y'all, and on grain mashes, I always filter my liquor over American white oak lump charcoal. I get a lot of questions about this. It helps take out some of the harshness, the harsh compounds, and really helps to smooth it out. It's kind of a minute difference, but my palate can taste it, so I always use this on a grain mash. When it comes to a brandy, I don't take the chance of this maybe taking a little flavor with it because you're filtering it over the charcoal. And a brandy's smooth anyway, so you don't need this. But that's what that is. But we're going to keep letting it heat up, and I'll be back, guys, when it's time to run off some heads. Alrighty, y'all, so just started running off some heads. So it took about an hour to heat up. So not too bad. I heat up quick, but not crazy quick. You know, it's a 25-gallon pot with 20 gallons of mash in it. But we're running off heads. I get the question all the time of, how much heads do I take off? Guys, it's not a set amount. Sometimes I take off half a gallon. Sometimes I take off 3/4. It all depends on what your ABV in your mash is. What were the ingredients in your mash? Was it grain? Was it a fruit brandy? Is it a sugar wash? Is it an all grain? There's just a lot of variables, guys. There's not a set amount every time. But if you're running 20 gallons and you throw away at least half a gallon, that'll get most of your heads and definitely your 4 shots out of the way. 4 shots and heads are the same thing to me. But like I say all the time, guys, go by taste, touch, and smell. Taste it. Does it taste fiery? Does it taste real hot and kind of nasty? Does it evaporate real quick off your hands? Does it smell like acetone, fingernail polish, paint thinner, real fiery on the nose? If so, that's your heads, guys. When it starts smelling sweeter, more smooth, you start tasting your grain. You know, it's not so harsh on the palate. It doesn't evaporate so quickly. That's when you know you're in your hearts, guys. When you get to your tails, it'll feel real oily on your hands. Sometimes you can see the oil on top of the liquor in the jar. It'll smell like cardboard, wet dog, kind of like ass. But that's, you know, you need to learn how to make proper cuts. It doesn't happen overnight, guys, but practice does make perfect with it. You can totally change a spirit by how you make your cuts. If you make them poorly, it'll taste poorly. If you cut them just right, it'll taste wonderful. Now, if you're going to put it in a barrel, you want it a little grungy. You want a little bit of heads, a little bit of tails. But if you're going to leave it clear to sip on, no heads, and depending on what your early tails taste like, you may want to add a little bit, then you may not. But we're going to keep running off these heads, guys. I'll be back when it's time to make the hearts cut. Take a sample real quick. Oh, yeah. Good and smooth. It's not harsh anymore. That is definitely hearts. We got our American white oak charcoal here. First, we're going to put our proofing parrot under it. So we took off a good half gallon of heads, guys. Let me toss this out real quick. Yeah, I definitely will. There's a good chance I'm going to put this in a Badmotivator barrel. I love them Badmotivator barrels, guys. Like they are the bee's knees, if you could say. But I also love these cool hillbilly glass barrels. These things are really, really cool. If you're into rapid aging and you don't want to wait years, guys, and you want to do a smaller aging run, like a quart or a half gallon jar, these hillbilly glass barrel lids is definitely what you want. This is a Knob Creek barrel, a used Knob Creek barrel head. Real thick, toast and charred. Comes with a ring, and you just screw it on a mason jar and lay it on the side and let it age. I'll put his logo up here in the top of the screen. And I'll also put a link to his Facebook page down in the description box, guys. So this is 2 different formats. This is for rapid aging, short-term aging. I did it on the Apple Brandy 2.0. A quart jar took a little over like a month and a few days, and it turned out pretty damn good. But I've tried 2 of these out so far. I got a Knob Creek one right here, and then I also have a cherry wood. He has all different kinds of woods, but I've tried 2 of them already, and it tasted really good. Alrighty, y'all, so we ran off 2 good quarts already. It's still hovering at 128 proof. But always keep checking your run. You got different flavors and different flavor profiles that come off at different times throughout your run. That smells awesome, y'all. You know, I've ran this Blue Oat Whiskey a couple times already. This is the first time with the lacto infection that we added to it. And you can definitely smell a difference. But it's a good difference. It's almost like the mash smell. It's almost like a fruitiness, but at the same time like a sour mash. It's strange, but a good strange. Them grains are hot and heavy. You smell the oats. You smell the Ohio blue corn really good. Definitely smell that dark wheat malt. And guys, this is what I was talking about at the beginning of the run. I fill my still, then once it starts running, I adjust my heat to keep my stream the thickness of a matchstick. I don't do the drip drip spurt and all that. I keep it flowing, the solid thickness of a matchstick. As your ABV in your pot drops, you'll have to turn your heat up to keep that stream that same thickness, because the boiling point in the pot rises as the alcohol content lowers. Alrighty, y'all, so about to swap jars out. This makes a gallon we done ran off. Actually a gallon and a half, but I threw the first half gallon away as tails. But this is the 4th quart of good hearts. We're gonna swap her out. It's still at we are at about 115 proof. So it's came down a lot. Look at that. That is crystal clear if I ever seen. Some good clear liquor. Still super good nose on it. That sourness and fruity sourness has kind of went away a little bit. It's super grain heavy now. I don't smell much Ohio blue corn anymore. Now it's just that wheat, that earthy sweetness from that malted, dark malted wheat. You got that rye on the back end, that real earthy spiciness. And then oats all through. Let's see what it tastes like. Let's get us a horn. That is super smooth for 115 proof. Super grain rich. That's why I chose to go ahead and use the thumper and put some mash and a lot of the grains out of the mash barrel in there to give it that good. I love a good heavy grain. That's good. Alrighty, y'all, so I just made the tails cut. I just swapped out the jar. We're at right at 90 proof, but it started getting real grungy, like just that bad stale grain, cardboard, wet dog, just not a good smell. and the flavor's the same. It's just a bad taste. Like I said, it's like dusty, nasty, dusty, stale grain. Cardboard, it's just bad. And you can, at this point, guys, you can keep on running your tails. You can run them down to 10, 20 proof and use them as feints to throw in on another run. I don't use tails, so that's something I don't ever collect. But that always is an option if that's something you want to do. And you can save it for feints and toss it back in the still with another mash you do. My only recommendation is either do an all feints run or keep your grain tails with grain mashes. I wouldn't take a couple gallons of tails from a grain mash and throw it in a brandy mash. I wouldn't do that. I would keep it with itself. Yeah, we just made the tails cut, guys. Ain't nothing else good to get from here. But I'm about to shut the still down, break it apart and clean it, and I'll be back. Alrighty, y'all, so we just got done breaking down the still and cleaning it out real good. As you can see, I'm soaking wet in sweat. It is so hot and humid here in North Carolina, it's crazy. And on top of all this heat that, making liquor generates, it gets miserable at times. It's really, really late. It's about 4 o'clock in the morning. I've been running for the last 5.5 hours, so I'm ready to be done. But guys, after each run, all I do is just rinse my still out with the hose pipe. That's it. You don't have to do no deep cleaning. You want to keep that pot seasoned. If you got stainless, rinse it out. Every couple months you can do a cleaning with citric acid or vinegar, but you don't have to do that every time. But it's a really good run, y'all. The only bad part is I got a lot less liquor than I should have. And I know why. I only got 7 good quarts of hearts. Should have been upwards about at least 9 or 10. But when we put that lactobacillus in there, what lactobacillus does is it eats the sugar and turns it into lactic acid and stuff. So that some of our sugar went to the lactobacillus. Our yeast didn't consume it all. So guys, if y'all plan on using lacto in the future, you may want to up your gravity a point or so, just a little bit, to make up for that, because you're going to lose some of your sugar, which could be alcohol, due to the lactobacillus. I'm about quality over quantity anyway. So, I'm fine with losing a little bit. I think I'm going to have just enough to fill a Badmo barrel, and I believe I will, because this is some fine, fine whiskey, y'all. Super grain heavy on the nose, and I love that. That's what I wanted. That's why we used the thumper and put the grains and the mash in there to really supercharge that grain forward. I smell the Ohio Blue on the front. You get that dark malted wheat, you get the malted rye, and that silkiness, dusty grain oat on the palate. It's really, really good. But you also got this super sour, fruity note to it, and that's the lactobacillus. It's the lactic acid that was in the mash. I'm really pleased with this run, guys. I know it tastes fantastic without the lactobacillus, but I'm kind of torn on which one I like best. This is really, really good. Super smooth. Super smooth. That's probably 110, and it drinks like 80 proof liquor. But I'm very happy with the run. I wish I would have got a little more, but it's okay. I got 7 good quarts. Badmo barrels hold 2 gallons. I may have to proof it down a little bit to get my barrel entry proof. But we'll see. Then again, I may not put it in a barrel. It's so good, I may just drink it clear like that. Now guys, if y'all replicate this mash, it is a super grain forward mash. So if you like that real, up front in your face graininess, you'll like this recipe. If you don't, you may not like this recipe. Maybe use different grains or just don't do it at all. But it's really good. I really like it. I'll definitely do it again in the future. Guys, in upcoming weeks, I'm doing a sweet corn liquor mash. I'm talking peaches and cream, bicolored, whole corn on the cob, grinded. I'm grinding cob and all. So y'all be on the lookout for that in the next few weeks. And as always, guys, I want to thank you for stopping by. And until next time, guys, shine on.